Okay, sir. We're starting the recording.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. So, thank you so much for joining this session. So, today we are going to talk about cloud data governance and catalog, which is an Informatica data governance product. Okay. So, I hope everyone knows about what exactly the Informatica, the on-prem solution and the cloud solution, right? So, today we are going to talk about the cloud data governance and catalog. Okay. So, before jumping into cloud data governance and catalog, which is Informatica CDGC product, right? Let's try to talk about what exactly the data governance it is basically. I hope everyone knows about what exactly the data governance, okay? Or else let me try to make you understand in a real time scenario basically. Okay. So I will try to give you a simple definition for it basically. One second. Sorry. Okay, so data governance is nothing but just a framework basically, or else I would say, it's a set of, some kind of rules and regulations as well, which means in any organizations, right? So every organization will follow certain, some kind of a policies or rules. But if at all you wanted to derivate it, what exactly the data governance it is, right? It's a formal kind of an execution, right? And it is having some kind of a definition, production, and how it has to be, the data is being used, and how we need to manage the risk and how we need to improve the quality and usability of that data, right? This is a simple kind of a definition. So in real time scenario, right, we can have a multiple data governance, a definition. Somebody say that it's a kind of a framework. Some peoples will say set of policies. Some peoples will say set of rules and all basically. Okay. So in our scenario, right? So we'll say it's the data governance is nothing but a set of rules, or else I would say a simple framework. Let me give you a real time example for that. So let's say, for example, we have a we have our government basically, right? So in our government, right, each and every some kind of an MPs or MLAs are they're having their own portfolios. Let's say, for example, we used to call them as a educational minister. We used to call them, some people call it the irrigation minister or something like that. But on top of that, we have a some chief minister or PMO or something like that which we have. So now try to segregate, try to associate these kind of government into our data governance area, which is for an organization. Let's say, for example, I am working in some pharmaceutical company called Sanofi or Novartis, right? Same way you can try to segregate that. We have a chief data officer, CDO, and we have a CIO, or some data steward, technical steward, data steward. Everyone we have basically. Now, if at all you wanted to segregate or them, right? So each and every persona, I would say, they're having their own roles and responsibilities within the organization, right? To define that particular roles and organizations, right, we have to follow certain data governance rules and regulations. That is a one best example, I would say. Now, if at all you wanted to talk about more about the data governance, right? So let's say I will try to give some use cases as well for you. Okay, so you are the data steward or a data owner or just a data consumer within an organization, or any data scientist or whatever it is. So now, so you are working on one kind of a domain. Let's say, for example, you are working on a sales domain. Now you have a question saying that hey, I need my data for an analysis basically. So now you don't know what data it is and where exactly it is available and how I need to access it. To get this one right, what you need to do is you need to get into multiple teams, and you need to to and fro mail chains that you have to send. Then at least after a few months, then you can able to get the response from the different teams basically. At the same time, for there are a data steward is there, right? He wanted to analyze his data, some kind of a marketing sales domain data. Then can I trust this data or not? because nobody will give you the assurance for that, like, can I trust this source data or not? At the same time, what are the definitions associated with data? What is the difference between large convert and, like, small convert kind of a data? And at the same, like, how do I find the data? I need to ensure that, like, whether my data quality fit for my purpose, or, like, usable per usage policy or not. So all these are the open questions when we are working in any of the data governance projects, basically. Okay. Now, if I talk about more the data governance, right? Again, I said, like, it's a set of policies or a process, rules, metrics, standards, each and every all these points, right? It will ensure an organization data is accurate, secure, and usable as well. Also, it helps the organization, right, to comply with their external standards set by the government agencies or industry associates or any other stakeholders as well, right? And data governance is nothing but key component of your data management, which is kind of a practice of managing how the data is being processed within an organization, I would say. So what exactly you will get benefit using this data governance basically within an organization, right? So what you can do is you can able to improve your decision making and improve the cost controls, and at the same time, like, you can able to enhance your regulatory compliance and everything going forward. Like, I will try to explain what exactly the regulatory compliance and everything. Okay. So, and, like, securely use your the data initiatives as well, and at the same time, like, you can able to enable more accurate for your data analysis as well. Okay. So if you can think through, okay, so if you can see, this is a simple data governance that, like, we are talking about. If you can, a library catalog for a company data basically. So think through what exactly this data governance and catalog it is basically, right? It's kind of a simple guide for the organization, I would say. Or else, let's say, for example, if at all you wanted to go to any kind of a Domino's or any kind of a malls or something, definitely you can see some boards. There are those nothing but your catalogs only, which means in that particular catalog, then you can able to see all where exactly, like, which floor I have to go for a kids wear, or else, like, if at all you can go to the any kind of a Domino's, right? You can able to see some kind of a catalog, what kind of a pizza that you wanted to order. So definitely you can able to see some kind of a catalog. If there is no catalog, right, what are the ingredients that pizza is containing, you don't know, right? So again, you need to have a conversation with them. It will take long time, right, again, to get his time, and, like, he needs to come and he needs to explain you what are the ingredients that he's preparing for that particular pizza. Okay, for that purpose, like, everyone will come up with the cataloging. At the same time, for every organization, they are having their own cataloging tools, right? In market, there are, like, multiple, or, like, many of the cataloging tools that are available. Okay, so let's say, for example, you have Informatica, right? You have Colibra, and, like, you have Atlan, Elation, Big ID, OneTrust, Security AI, or IBM. These are the lot of data governance tools are available within our industry. Okay, so what you can achieve with these data governance tools, right? So again, the first thing is data catalog, right? Where it's a centralized repository of your data assets and all. And at the same time, like, you can able to do the metadata management, where you can able to track, define, and manage your metadata as well. And at the same time, like, you can able to do the data quality, right, to improve your accuracy, or consistency and reliability for the data quality area. And after, at the same time, you can able to get the lineage, where how exactly your data is moving from one hop to another hop, or one source system to another source system, right? And then, like, you can able to maintain the access control, policy management, regulatory compliance, security, everything that, like, you can able to manage, right? That's what you can able to achieve with the data governance and catalog. So now, at the same time, when you talk about the rules, right? So who are allowed, let's say, for example, you are having a household, and, like, you are trying to share your house with somebody else, like, then you have certain rules, like, who's allowed to touch what basically, right? That is a one simple example, I would say. When you talk about the data sets or something, right? What kind of a quality checks that you can do? Right. So if you can see the right side, right, this is a simple, glance of a governance picture, you can say. So you can see the people, which means like, you have your data domain owner or a stewards and what kind of a responsibilities that they're having. At the same time, like, when you talk about the rules, you can able to correlate like, policies, definitions, and access and like quality as well. And at the same time, when we say the data assets, right? So in every cataloging, right, not only Informatica or Colibra, Atlan or Relation. So, you know, within these tools, right, we used to call data as a assets only. Okay. So what kind of a data all these data governance tools will capture, right? It will capture only your metadata. Okay, not the actual data. This is the main point that like you need to remember when you are working with the data governance and cataloging. Okay, so data governance is this is a simple, what exactly the CDGC it is, right? It's a simple cataloging tool only, right? Where you can able to integrate your data governance, all the functionalities into your cataloging area, which is in your CDGC. Okay, don't think that like data governance is when we acquire the CDGC tool, it will do all the data governance and everything, right? So don't think like that. Data governance is a vast journey basically, right? So CDGC is a technical tool where you convert your data governance into your technical tooling side. When you talk about the data governance, it's a completely a functional thing basically where you have to do some kind of a data strategy, right? And you need to build some kind of a data governance framework and all. Okay, that another slide I will try to show you what exactly the glimpse of our data governance. Okay, so in the next, right, so basically let's try to take few more use cases. Previously we did talked about like what is the this I need my data for analysis and like where exactly the data is available. So in a for all these questions, right, like cataloging is the one solution for you basically. Okay, so for example, you are working on multiple domains, would say like banking sector or like healthcare domain or retail or manufacturing domains, right? So each and every domain is having their own use cases. I will try to pick only one for each use case. Basically, I would say in a banking sector, right? So one definition of a customer basically. When I say like if at all he's having the multiple accounts, let's say for example the particular customer is having in the uh, you know insurance account or savings account, and like he has some loan as well, but he has to identify a single customer ID basically. Then your data governance will pitch in, which is your MDA, master data management. And if at all you are working in the healthcare domain basically, right? So only approved persons, staff, or like a personas needs to see their records basically, right? That is a one policy that it is having. At the same time, if at all you are working in a finance or a retail domain, like trusted revenue basically, I don't want to trust the a random number of revenue basically, but you have to trust that revenue whether it's correct or not. At the same time, when you are working in a manufactured domain, right, I need to understand or need to identify the trustworthy supplier as well. For all these, there is a simple one use cases that I'm mentioning here, but in a real time scenario, right, like for you have to identify the each and use case, and like you have to build the solution within the data governance. Okay, this things will not be done basically because we are the very technical peoples. We are going to use how we are going to use our Informatica cloud data governance and catalog. This is a complete functional data governance that I'm trying to talk about right now, because before jumping to our Informatica cloud data governance and catalog, right, first we need to understand what exactly the data governance it is basically. Okay, so now previously we did talked about what is the data governance, and like what is the uses of data governance if it is having, and what are the few use cases also we did talked about. Now what if data governance is not there within the any organization? What will happen? So conflicting the numbers basically, again, previously we said like uh, the revenue, right? Same example we'll try to take it basically. If there is no trusted revenue is there, like, again, it should be a problem for an organization, right? So no accountable owner as well. Let's say, for example, you are working on the multiple domains, or like, you have multiple environments as well, basically. Then, like, if at all there is no clear cut owner, what will happen again? Like, you don't know, like, to whom we need to reach out, or to whom we need to report as well, right? So again, like, sensitive data will be exposed, because if at all you are not clear cut the roles defined, not defined properly, then automatically, like, each and every sensitive data will be showcased to the other customers or other users as well. At the same time, silent breakage, if at all something goes change, something is happened within your data, basically, you don't know how to, drill down that particular lineage. You don't know where exactly it is breaking and all, right? Again, that should be a problem. And again, you can able to wasted your search time. Let's say, for example, you do not have any kind of a cataloging tool or a data governance within your place. If at all you wanted to identify any kind of a domain or a data asset within an organization, then, like, you need to reach out to the multiple teams, and like it will take very long time, right? That is a one, hiccup. So at the same time, right, you don't need to do the duplicate work if at all you are having the data governance. If you don't have the data governance, then again, like, you have to do the rework again. Let's say, for example, you are having the multiple teams. Okay, so you have already built a solution, right? If that is not captured, and if there is no, owner for it, again, like, some other person, some other team also will do the same job again, right? Then that should be a duplicacy of work. So there are many things are happening. I'll give you one more real time example, like, why this data governance is coming to the picture. See, previously, in a years back, right, in a decade back, 2005 or 7 or something like that, right? So data governance is there basically, but how they will maintain is, right, so they don't have any kind of certain policies or roles or rules basically. Okay, so they will simply maintain all these data governance within a simple, kind of an Excel sheets or notepads or something like that. Okay, so there is no pure, a racy documentation or roles or responsibilities, something like that. Like, they will not have that time. It should be a very very hectic process to reach out to any, who will be the stakeholder for this particular domain or data set. It's a very, it will be very difficult. Okay, so I'll give you one more example. In 2017, or I think 16, I believe, in US. Okay, so there is should be, uh, some hackers have been hacked the train system, basically the public train system, in 2016 or 17. I'm not remember this year basically. So now in that time, right? So they have hacked. If at they demanded, like, crores of money basically in US dollars. So, and like, whenever what they demand is, right, if at all you can give me the money, then only, like, I can able to release this particular train system and all. That's happened in the US. So now they have paid, and like, now they have, the hijackers, I would say, or hackers, they have released that train system basically. Now after that, what they have done is, who is maintaining this particular public train system and all, right? They went through, and like, they are trying to drill down why this is happened. Okay, now they understood that, like, there is no proper data governance here, basically. So which means there is no data owner for it. Basically, there is no clear cut roles has been defined for the each and every person. That's where you can able to see the regulations are coming. You can, like, I sometimes, like, you will be heard about, like, GDPR, HIPAA, or CAPA, or like, some DPDPA from India. So each and every region, I would say, or each and every country, I would say, they're having their own regulations. So which means our European countries is having the GDPR. Okay, our India is having the DPAPA. Okay, which means they have to follow certain rules. Let's say, for example, you are trying to expose your data to the other country, vendors or something. Then definitely you have to follow, certain policies. That policies in the data governance we used to call as the regulations. I would say, for example, DPAPI. So which means that's an Indian regulatory one. basically. Let's say, for example, our data is exposing to the other customer. Let's say, for example, you are having an Instagram and you are having some kind of a password. Okay, then that password should be, uh, encrypted with the MD5 algorithm basically. Then automatically, other person or other countries, they cannot able to see their, our passwords. At the same time, our address as well. Something like that, we have to follow certain regulations to hide our sensitive information. That is kind of a classification, I would say. That's where 2016 and 17 onwards, this data governance is coming to the limelight, and now it's a kind of a niche skills basically, I would say. Okay, that is the evolution of data governance. Not evolution basically, but people are started talking about what exactly the data governance, what are all the tools that previously also Informatica is having. And Colibra is the first data governance tool, I would say. We have Atacama, Alation. There's a lot of data governance tools, but nowadays, it's very important as well to follow. Each and every organization has to follow the data governance regulations, basically. Okay, so these are the few points. If you are not having any, if any organization is not having the data governance, right? So these kind of problems may occur. At the same time, with the if at all you are no not following the data governance, you didn't that organization, that particular organization is not met with the DCAM, I would say. Okay, so each and every organization has to follow the data governance process. If something is missing or some data is elevating to the other customers or other countries basically, then what will know you that particular organization has to pay the millions of money to the customers, or at the same time the government as well. That is the one rule. So every organization has to follow the data governance policies and regulations. Okay, and they have to complete the DCAM assessment. Okay, so now this is a simple glance, where how we need to start a data governance journey. So this is again, this is a simple data governance functional area. I just wanted to showcase few items here basically. So how they wanted to start a data governance journey. Let's say, for example, I have started one on organization. So I wanted to start a data governance journey. Before acquiring any kind of a tools or something, right? First, I wanted to have some kind of a strategy and that direction basically. So which means I need to have some kind of a vision. See what kind of a you know uh, what I need to achieve with this data governance journey basically, right? So that clear cut idea they have to have it. And at the same time, once I have my vision basically, then I need to have this roles and accountability within an organization. So who will be the data owner, who will be the data steward, who will be the consumer, or CTO or CIO or CDO, these kind of roles that I have to define. And once the roles has been done, which is a RACI documentation has need done, right? I need to create some kind of a policies and controls as well. You have your own data, for example, right? This particular person, some sales data that has to be showcased to the sales department CTO, but not the consumer. So these kind of policies, and you have to create some controls on your data as well. So this particular data has to be within your organization, it not to go to the other organizations, or it not will be visible for the other organization, something like that. You have to create the controls as well. Again, we have a metadata and documentation. This is where your technical tools will come into the picture, which is our Informatica, Colibra, Alation, or Atlan, Big ID. This is where our technical tools will come into the picture. Okay, now again we have the data quality where you can able to see the accuracy, or you wanted to measure your data, right? So your data quality will come into the picture. Again, your master data management, and you can able to hide, you can able to do the privacy and security as well. That risk assessment also you can able to do that. And at the same time you can able to talk about your data life cycle as well, and architecture. And finally it should be an adoption basically, which means you have to ask, or you have to give some kind of knowledge sessions to your organization people's I would say data consumers. So this is a simple glance of our Informatica, sorry, data governance actually. Okay, so now let's try to quickly jump into uh, Informatica. right? So as I mentioned, right, so we in the market, right, there is a lot of data governance tools are available, right? So those are again Colibra, Atlan, or Informatica, Big IT. There's a lot of tools are available. Why Informatica in the sense, right? I'll talk about in the last slide basically why we need to choose Informatica. Why not Colibra or something? But each and every tool having their own the usage basically, I would say. But let's try to talk about here Informatica. So you know how Informatica is evolving, right? The cloud previously data governance tools for Informatica or EDC and Axon, right? Those are the on-prem solutions, I would say. Okay, so in 2000, 16, 17, and 8, up to 19 or up to 21. Sorry, 21. Like organizations used to have their Informatica EDC and Axon as their data governance solution, on-prem data governance solution. Then later point of time, like they have merged everything as into the Informatica IDMC platform. So in 2016 and 17 also Informatica is having their one of the integration product, which is IICS. They used to call up to 2021, they used to call cloud solution as an IICS basically, right? So Informatica is having their, on-prem solutions like, Power Center, starting from the Power Center, they're having the, IDQ, they're having the EDC and Axon. These are all the on-prem solution. Once after what they have done in 2022 is, right, instead of they would call it as a IICS, they used to call it as an IDMC. So now that is a platform product basically. Okay, Informatica IDMC is a platform product where they have integrated all the solutions. Let's say, for example, their integration as a CDI, which means Power Center into the CDI, EDC and Axon into the CDGC, right? And they're having the MDM solution. We have a cloud SaaS MDM solution that we have data quality into the data quality. They're having the in the cloud solution. They're having the CDP and CDQ as well. So, which means they have completely migrated from on-prem solutions to the cloud solution. That's where they are talking as a IACS to the IDMC basically. Now, IDMC is nothing but a SaaS product platform. Okay. Now, in this IDMC, right? So we are going to talk about only one solution for the data governance solution. So there are like multiple microservices that we are going to talk about, which is your cloud data governance and catalog, and we have a metadata command center. I will try to touch upon IDMC administrator service as well, basically. Okay, so now let's try to debug. Let's try to jump into the Informatica architecture. Basically, you can see Informatica cloud basically. Okay. When you say the, Informatica cloud, right? People will mislead understood that saying that like, hey, Informatica is having their own cloud. No, no, it will not like that basically, right? So Informatica is having the solution basically, not the cloud environment. What they will do is Informatica will host their solution or services within the cloud platforms. In the across the enterprise or across the globe, right? We are having the multiple cloud systems. We have the Azure, we have AWS, we have the Google Cloud, and we have the Oracle Cloud as well. Now, what Informatica is doing, Informatica is having the multiple services, right? Which is your CDI integration service or data governance solution or MDM solution. Okay, all these solutions, what they done is they have hosted into the your AWS solution or Azure or Oracle and Google Cloud platforms. Whenever any client or any vendor or they wanted to have their Informatica solution, right? They need to reach out to Informatica, and they will say that like, hey, I need an Informatica solution with so and so services subscription. Then automatically Informatica will provide one tenant for them basically, which is hosted in different environments basically. Okay. Now, let's try to see the architecture basically. Okay, now if you can see, try to see two parts basically. One is from the upper side and one is the downside. So consider upper side is the Informatica one up to this one. Okay, where exactly your Informatica services has been hosted in the cloud basically. Okay, now in the downside you can able to see this is our organization basically. Okay, within our organization basically. Okay, now how it will be how it will be contacted to your Informatica services. Okay, so we have a runtime environment within our Informatica IDMC. Without runtime environment, you cannot able to proceed or you cannot able to run any of the tasks basically. See, ideally, all these services always your Informatica services will be up and running basically. If at all you wanted to use these services, right, you need to have a runtime agent which is needs to be installed within an organization basically. Okay, so whenever you are trying to connect to these Informatica services, okay, you need to you need to pass through the firewall basically. So how we can able to firewall when you try to install your secure agent, okay, or else I would say runtime agent that needs to be installed in your within the organization in a Windows or a Linux machines basically. When you are trying to install, right, you need to enable the firewall between your Informatica cloud services between your runtime environment. Okay, then always when you're trying to access the Informatica cloud services, that secure, that connection will be secure. So it has to pass the firewall basically. Now you can able to see the multiple boxes here. So this is the consider these are the cloud applications basically, not the Informatica. So AWS, Google Cloud, or your Workday, Salesforce. These are all the cloud applications, and you can able to see multiple databases which is a on-prem solutions. If at all you wanted to connect, let's say for example you are working on a CDI, which is a data integration, right? So now you need to enable the firewall between the within the organization from your secure agent machine to your on-prem solutions, which is your data governance, or sorry, if any of the databases within the organization. Or else, let's say for example you are to extract the metadata, or you wanted to connect to the Google Cloud to extract some metadata, or try to do some kind of an ETL transformations, right? Then again you need to enable the firewall between the your runtime machine to your cloud basically. Okay, that way you can able to securely communicate to your cloud services as well, whether it's a Google Cloud or Workday or Salesforce or whatever it is basically. Okay, this is the way your secure agent will be installed, and it will securely communicate to your Informatica and your cloud services as well. I'll show you once we started, right? So then definitely I will show you all the pods available within Informatica. So where exactly our Informatica services has been hosted, how we need to check all these services are up and running. Okay, so how Informatica is documentation is showing all this stuff, right? That I can able to show. This is a simple, how exactly our secure agent connects to your Informatica services as well, and at the same time your cloud data as well. Okay, so now to talk about more about what exactly the Informatica cloud data governance and catalog, right? See, CDGC, so CDGC is a short form of your cloud data governance and catalog. Okay, so now CDGC is nothing but comprehensive catalog, right? That helps you to understand and analyze your data, right? Interpret and governance the large volumes of data within an organization. Try to understand the definition. So CDGC is a comprehensive catalog that helps you to understand, analyze, and interpret and govern the large volumes of your data organization. Which means, right, in an organizational metadata, right, how the data is flowing from one system to another system, right? How the relationships is been happening, what are all the data sets that are available within your catalog, right? And at the same time, how we need to document the data, what is the business context, what is the technical context of this particular data, everything that you can able to get it from your Informatica catalog. Okay, now if you can see this, right, this is a catalog basically, a governed data catalog, right? It combines the technical metadata with the business metadata, right? And of course it will define the overall, who is the ownership, what is the policy basically, right? What is the quality of score, the lineage, everything that you can able to see within your catalog. And at the same time, who is creating what kind of an asset basically, who will be responsible for what, right? Which means who will be the data owner or a steward, right? Who will be the data engineer architect, or who will be the consumer. So is there any risk and privacy and compliance teams, everything that you can able to utilize it. And what changes that you can able to do, right? You can able to track it very easily to say who made this change for this particular asset and everything. So it is giving the clear cut information to the end users. What you can get this what definitely you can able to get by using your data governance and catalog, right? So you can able to discover the assets very easily, and you can able to understand the data, and you can able to get the trust and governed data. Let's try to debug more. And so discover, let's say for example you have joined an organization, and you there are multiple data assets, and nothing has been transisted to you basically. Now you need to understand, or you need to analyze some kind of a sales data basically. So to get this sales data, right, so you have to jump into the catalog basically. Okay, so that will be very easy. Consider if at all you do not have the catalog, what will happen? You need to reach out to the multiple teams. It will take very long time, and you cannot able to understand, right? There is nobody will guide you, right? Now, consider if at all you are having the catalog, right? So you can able to simply go to your catalog, and you can able to search for your sales data, and you can able to, when you search for the sales data, that will give the clear information who will be the stakeholder, who will be the data owner. Okay, so that clear cut information that you can able to see. And by merging, or by associating your technical asset data with the business metadata, you can able to easily understand what kind of a data that has been present in this particular domain, which means in the sales domain, and what are the relationships, and how exactly the data is moving from the one source system to other source system. And at the same time, when you are seeing this data, right, whether I need to trust or not, because you are going to have your data quality, right? If it is data quality is very less than say 60% or 70%, so you cannot able to trust. So if at all you are having the data quality is 99.9, then you can able to easily trust your data as well. And at the same time, right, so the data owner or data steward, right, he will certify the data. Hey, when I say the certify, right, so the data owner once certified, consumers will easily understand, hey, this particular data set has been certified by the data owner, so this data I can able to use for my analysis. This is the way you can able to understand and trust your data as well. See, this is the one simple example I would say, cloud data governance, sorry, cloud data catalog, and data governance area, how it will be meshed basically, right? So automatically scans the cloud and on-prem systems basically, which means when I create a resource within my catalog, I can able to fetch all the metadata, right? And how it will be governed basically, this particular, once I scan, right, I need to make sure that whether this particular data is having the data owner or not. Okay, so simple example, it is the map basically, and the rule of the road as well, rules of the road. Just a simple example, I would say, right? So now, if at all you wanted to build a searchable inventory, tables, files, reports, those are the technical things. Basically, when you scan any kind of a Oracle system, you can able to scan all the tables, flat files, and reports as well. Now you can able to define the business terms to understand your data, right? It will capture the technical plus business lineage as well, and you can able to apply the policies, quality, and access. So at the same time, right, what data exists and where exactly it is having. So the solution is your cloud data catalog. Okay. So what data exists and where, which means the solution is your data catalog. So now can I trust this data, or who can accountable? So you can able to get it the solution from your data governance. So by combining these two, right, you can able to get the comprehensive your solution basically, whether I need to trust this data set or not, data domain or not, who will be the responsible, everything that you can able to document, and you can able to get your solution. Okay, so this is a simple, CDGC layer that we are talking about. Okay, so consider like in the first layer, right? First you need to do is assets basically, as I mentioned previously, right? In every cataloging tools, right? We used to call data as an assets, basically, whether it's a table or file or a database or schema model, whatever it is. Like we used to call that as an asset, basically, right? And you can able to second layer is the meaning, basically, meaning in the sense if at all you're having some kind of a table which you are not able to understand now, then we have a business terms within our catalog, so you can able to simply associate your business terms, descriptions, relationships, classification details to your technical assets, which means this one, so then you can able to get the actual meaning of your data, right? And third layer should be your ownership. Once this has been associated, then you can able to get it who will be the data owner, who is the steward, what kind of a workflows that has to be defined to certify this particular data set. So everything that you can able to give the ownership, and to trust it, right? So the quality, data quality will coming to the picture, and certification policies will coming to the picture, and the finally it is the flow. So how exactly the data is moving from one system to another system. This is kind of a lineage. Okay, these are all the cloud data governance and catalog features, I would say, basically. But there are more, there's a lot of features, going forward we can talk about or all the features of the cloud data governance and catalog. So to understand more, right? So I have given, a few of the personas basically here. Okay. When I say the personas, right, it's kind of a roles only. I used to call it as data steward, data owner, or something, right? So these are the few personas that I'm mentioning here. Data consumer, what exactly he will get it from the catalog. So which data should I use basically? That's an actual simple example for a data consumer, right? Now data owner, is this asset is a fit for this particular use or not? Okay, so when data owner is trying to prepare any kind of a data set, right? So he will think through that whether this particular asset will fit for the use or not. And when you are a data steward, basically the context is complete or not, right? When you are engineer or an architect or something, right? So the where exactly the data is coming from, which means that's a lineage basically, right? And again, we have a risk and privacy as well. I would say, does this met the policy or not? So you can able to create the policies and regulations within our CDGC, and then you can able to associate that particular policy with your technical asset. Okay, that way you can able to think, and any privacy manager or risk manager will come into the picture, and he will specify this particular governed usages. Okay, that's what the personas I'll mention. This is nothing basically. Trust comes from evidence. Okay, so again, right, Informatica is having the, as I mentioned, right, Informatica IDMC is nothing but a platform, not anymore a single, service or something. Okay, so it's a bigger platform basically. So it is having the multiple services basically: cloud data integration, cloud data quality, cloud data governance and catalog, master data management. We have API, data marketplace, everything that we have. As I mentioned, right, so this particular Informatica IDMC services has been deployed into the your cloud services, which is in AWS, Azure, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, or Oracle Cloud Platform also it is having. So I will try to showcase you that when you are going to the actual lessons. So what exactly this actual IDMC will do, right? Basically, as I mentioned, cloud data integration. It is kind of an ETL program where you can able to extract, transform your data, and this cloud data quality where you can able to monitor the quality of your data by defining the data quality rules and everything. And we are mostly concentrating on this particular service, data governance and catalog service. Okay, and I will try to touch upon cloud data quality as well, because we have to integrate cloud data quality with your data governance so that you can able to see the 360-degree view of your actual data. Okay, and we have master data management and API and app integration and data marketplace also. I will try to give you the data marketplace overview as well, because this is also a bit important for this data governance and cataloging area. Okay. So these are the, when I'm using, a little bit data governance and, CDGC terminologies basically. Okay. So this is the simple glimpse of our data governance and cataloging, what exactly the data governance it is, right? It's kind of a framework. That's what we have discussed previously. Why it is important. That is also we have, discussed, like, to maintain or like complaints and trust the data, and like key components, policies, stewards, and metadata security. What is the data steward basically, right? So oversees your data assets and quality as well. These are the simple Q&A that I have mentioned here. Okay, so this is what, like, today's demo session basically. Now I'll open for a Q&A session if at all you guys are having any kind of a questions. Happy to answer for that. Let us know. You can speak up and you can ask your queries on that.
If
And I
uh,
wanted to 1 second. Yeah, yeah, I'll try to take, this is the course content. Before I forgot, right? I wanted to share the course content also basically. We'll try to talk about data governance and catalog. I'll explore the CDGC, searchable policies as such. So these are the course content, I would say. These are many things, but I will try to touch upon, these are the